Hello, I thought you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear, listening into another Gamer's Thoughts video. And this time I'm going to be talking about a few different things, not a whole lot. I'm going to try to make my points quick and deal with them all as best as I can without taking a whole lot of your time. But first item up for bids is Metroid Prime 4 being delayed for the Nintendo Switch. I honestly was expecting that to happen. I wasn't expecting that the whole whatever that they worked on already to be scrapped, but I assume that there is good reason behind it. So I'm just going to hope that this is one of those situations where it turned out to be a really good move for them to do it, like what happened with the original Resident Evil 2. That being said, there was good news in that for a lot of people, because it wasn't confirmed, I don't believe, that Retro was going to be working on Metroid Prime 4, and they are. So that's good news for a lot of people who are actually fans of the series and appreciate the original trilogy. I mean, well, the Prime trilogy, not the original trilogy, because that would be Metroid 1, 2, and Super Metroid, and that would have been the original trilogy, like, just to clarify things. That being said, I hope that they are able to make the game live up to the expectations that they've set for themselves, which is what I believe is the reason that they were that they scrapped what they had, is because they weren't satisfied with the product that they were going to be putting out. So look, if the creators of it aren't satisfied, I don't think. I mean, it's possible that the gamers would be, but I would prefer to allow the creators to go ahead and do what they want to do to make it as good as what they think it should be. So if they felt like what they already had wasn't good enough, I want them to go ahead and do what they need to do to make things a bit better. That being said, I'm going to move that aside because there's not really much else to talk about that. Okay. Now, I'm not... and this is why I didn't dedicate a separate video to this, because to me it's not really worth a separate video. But Soulja Boy, I'm just going to put the link to the Breakfast Club interview down in the description. This dude, he is arrogant as hell. I mean, granted, yeah, whatever, you can be arrogant for whatever you've done in the industry that you are a part of. Go ahead. Go right ahead. But he decided he wanted to promote those daggone bootleg consoles on the Breakfast Club. And I'm like, this is not a good idea, man. This is just not a good idea. For a multitude of different reasons. Firstly, he equates the Apple getting their products built in China to what he's doing. Firstly, what Apple creates is original to Apple. It's their patented designs. It's their software and hardware. Their stuff. It all belongs to them. Doesn't matter where they get it manufactured. It all belongs to them. Yeah, I would prefer that they get it manufactured, where it was developed, but that's their choices of business. That has nothing to do with a product that exists already on the market. Like, firstly, and that's the thing. Apple is making their own products. What you are doing is not making your own products. What you are doing is taking a product that already exists, slapping your name on it, and then charging more money for it. That's not the same thing. Yeah, both of those things, like that, those bootleg consoles, they're made in China. Not just constructed in China. They are made, they are created in China. Because there's a major bootlegging industry in China. Mostly because a lot of the copyright laws aren't the same as they are in other places. Especially over here in the U.S. Next thing is that he claims that he has licenses to sell all those games on the stuff he's drop shipping, basically. First thing I'm going to point out. If you literally do actually have a license from every single one of those license holders, One, on top of that, you need multiple licenses from different companies as it is, especially with Nintendo. You need a license for every single game individually, just for Nintendo. Same thing for Sega. Same thing for anything that was with Sony. Same thing for anything that's Activision, EA. Any of those companies, you're going to need multiple contracts, multiple licenses in order to be able to sell those games. Because you need a new one for each individual game. So unless he's got like a paper stack that's like a mountain high, I doubt that he actually has any licenses to be able to sell these things legally anywhere. So it's one of those things where I look at it like, dude, do you really know what you're saying? Because like, you literally have no license to this stuff. Like, and I'd love you to go to court and tell Nintendo you have license to sell their products that they still currently sell themselves. That they don't give anybody permission to sell their products anywhere. Because if that was the case, don't you think it would make more sense for them to sell their stuff on Microsoft and Sony's platforms than to give it to some rapper who they likely don't give a fuck about and say, hey, yeah, go ahead and sell our stuff on your bootleg platform. And on top of that, where's the money that you are supposed to be giving them for all those licenses? Because there's no way that you'd make a goddamn dime off of anything with all of the games that are on there for all the licensing that you need to pay for. Hell no, you wouldn't be making a penny off of this. You'd actually lose a lot of money, to be honest. You wouldn't make a dime. Like, with all the licensing that you'd have to do, you'd be paying more to license the stuff out than you would be to just do what you're currently doing, which is bootlegging. That's just the logic of the situation. The licensing alone would bury you in debt. That's how much it costs. Doesn't matter how old these games are, a lot of them are still being actively sold by the companies that own them. Especially if you're looking at Sega and Nintendo. And I guess you could say Activision with the Crash Bandicoot and stuff. Because they own Crash now instead of Sony. Like, dude, like, you are burying yourself in a hole that you can't climb out of. And the last thing I'm going to say about his Breakfast Club interview is that he feels like people are putting him down because he's a black man trying to put out consoles. No. Dude, it has nothing to do with your race, your gender, your sexual orientation, whether or not you do drugs. I care not the least about any of that. What I care about is the fact that you are going out here literally bold-faced lying to everybody, telling them that you have license to do something that anyone with any common logic would know that you don't. Anyone that thinks logically, that would analyze the situation and think about what you would need to have in place to be able to sell these items, to be able to sell those games, yeah, you don't have the right to that. And we know you don't. That's why a lot of people sprang up. That, and yes, obviously there are people who are going to jump on the YouTube bandwagon to get popularity off of you. Like, quite obviously, because that's exactly what you were doing with this product. You were doing it in order to fucking shine some light on yourself. And what's an easy way to shine light on yourself? Cause controversy. Anyone can figure that out. And this was definitely a controversy. It didn't take much work to think about that. Like, no, like, dude, like, it has nothing to do with you being black, because obviously looking at me, and I still don't agree with you, I don't like your music, so, like I said, when I made the video about this whole situation, it said Soulja Boy, if he wants to get into the industry, he should start with making games. There are literally free video game engines out there, and there are paid video game engines out there. You have options to get a team together to develop a game for you. You're just not putting the effort into it. And literally, if you did that, you probably wouldn't even have to put any effort into it, because the people that would be developing all this stuff would probably want to do it themselves. All you'd have to do is back it. You'd literally just have to be the person to fund it. you probably come out with some really good games, sadly enough. And that's the bad thing. There was an easier way to do all of this. There was an easier way to get into the industry, and it would have made you more popular, as well as having everybody back you. Everyone would have been behind you. Whether they liked you or not, they would have been behind you because they'd be like, hey, this is a dude that's trying to do something. Well, I'll take that back. Not everybody would have been behind you. I mean, but people like me who could care less about you as a person, but see that you might be trying to put something together, be like, hey, cool, go ahead and do it. Like, yeah, I'm going to keep a cautious eye on you, on what you're doing, but hey, like, if you put out something good, hell, go for it. I don't get where throwing a race card helps you. If anything, it demeans the purpose of what you're doing because you're making it out to be something it isn't. And the second that mainstream media finally catches up with everybody else, that's when your ship is going to be sunk. I don't know. I'm just sorry. It's just me thinking. Again, I guess that's a bad thing on YouTube. Thinking. All right. Now, the last thing I really want to talk about, like, this is nothing with this negative crap that I just talked about dealing with Soulja Boy. It's actually the game One Step from Eden, the roguelike that's very much like Mega Man Battle Network. That is I think we're in the last week of the Kickstarter. So, if anyone wants to donate to that, like, get on board to help with that, because they're not too far away from the stretch goal for it to be on the Switch. And honestly, I would do a pitch for Switch video, but they already have in mind to put it on the Switch. So, hey, help them get to that stretch goal. Like, the demo, like, I got 3 gameplay demos 3 videos on my channel if you want to look them up. One is just the normal gameplay, and 2, the second one is the Hell Mode gameplay. And then the third one, which is from the update to the demo that just came out, yesterday, was to play with the character Reva. I think that's how you say her name. It's either Reva or Reva. I'll have to ask the creator. Like, I don't know per se, but I'll put the Kickstarter link down in the description for anybody who's interested. Because they had stretch goals for it, and then they had social media goals that they met, and to get the character for the demo was one of the social media goals. And I think literally, like, right off of the last goal, which is to make the shopkeeper a playable character in the final game, that's a social media goal. That's not a monetary goal. The game, however, has already made triple what they were asking for in order to develop it. So that's why I'm like, just go ahead. Like, I'm on there. I'm a backer. So that's what I'm saying. Just go ahead, help them. Honestly, it's just one of those things. Like, I really like the game, and I can see where it could be a quality product, and hopefully it could lead to this developer making a series off of it and making other games and becoming like a bigger studio. Like, I see the potential. That's why I wanted to talk about it. But that's it. There's nothing else to really say for me. So thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, please enjoy your games and peace out.